Greetings and salutations, friends. I'm Nimithrander and... well, we're finally here. I've been trying to avoid this, but... I can avoid my doom no longer. Oh, we are in for it. We're probably... definitely... in for it now. And right off the bat, grim horror waits for us here. I do love the atmosphere of this, and hearing the tune of our friends, the merchants, in this place is disturbing. Ay ay. If you were wondering why I let him live long enough to almost kill me, it was for this. The nomadic merchant's attire. Now, let's see where it is. Nope, don't think it's that heavy. Let's go back lower. Let me see. Oh, there it is. Finery of the nomadic merchants, decorated with tiny gems in a wide spectrum of colors. These merchants once thrived as the Great Caravan, but after being accused of heretical beliefs, their entire clan was rounded up and buried alive far underground. Then they chanted a curse of despair and summoned the flame of frenzy. A little too pink for my liking. It's kinda close to an idea for an outfit that I would rather like. A long coat with a cloak as well. But alas, this just isn't it. And now, we descend. We have a long way down yet to go. Oh, it looks like we have another impediment that needs breaking with the flame of frenzy. Ooh. That got a lot closer than I would have liked. More eyes of Yaloch. Times 5 of them this time. And now we have a few more minstrels. I'll leave them be. I dare to say that everyone down here has suffered more than enough, without me adding to their woes. Golden Maroon. And here comes our first drop. I usually try to make a leap for that. Yes, it would be a bit untoward to slay a pure musician. And now we begin our payment for madness. We have a long, long way to go. And now we must find out whether I'm even on the right track. Now, where do I go? I have no doubt that I'm going to be dying several times here. And death number 1. Okay. You might have noticed that I only had like 4,000 runes on me. That's because I knew full well where I was going. And so I went off and grinded for a bit to put another point in Arcane. Just so that I wouldn't be tempted to come back here to try and get back the runes I'm definitively going to lose here. There is no doubt in my mind that I am going to die several more times on the way down. I have no doubt about that one bit. Ah yes, and right here I think... Ooh, we have a different way down which should serve me better. Already we're lower than we were before. Are we low enough? Nope, not nearly. Okay. Oh, no. Okay. One more drop. Ooh, inescapable frenzy. Try luring out, and then something incredible. Yep. Let us read the description for inescapable frenzy, shall we? Incantation originating from the maddening 3 fingers causes the yellow flame of frenzy to blaze from the caster's eyes. The caster then latches onto foes, spreading the madness. This incantation also causes buildup of madness in the caster, and is only effective against another tarnished. To gaze into one another's eyes is truly the most intimate form of human contact. Indeed. And to reiterate, we also have unendurable frenzy. Incantation originating from the maddening 3 fingers causes the yellow flame of frenzy to violently burst forth from the caster's eyes. Hold to continue channeling the flame. This incantation can be used while in motion. It is the maddening pain and unstoppable tears of those afflicted with the flame of frenzy brought into being. Quite so. And we approach the dominion of the 3 fingers. I can't help but notice Ah, there you are. Fingerprint stone shield. Now, I'm going to equip a weak weapon. And by weak, I specifically mean one that is not upgraded. My purpose will be very simple. I wish to anger the minstrel so that he will strike at me and hopefully allow me to break the barricade up ahead. But right before we do that, let's have a read of the fingerprint stone shield. A great stone shield with an intricately carved fingerprint design. One of the heaviest of all great shields. Part of the tomb of an ancient god. The readerless fingers relayed their message through these imprints, said to be the very seeds from which frenzy first sprouted. Madness awaits us indeed. Wakey wakey. Now come forth and destroy this here. Come on. I need you to come to me. Now use the flame of frenzy. I thank you for your service, sir. Note on Miquella's needle. Well, let's see. Will it be a key item? Let's see. Ah. Yeah, looks promising. Miquella's needle. Note written by a nomadic merchant, succinctly detailing knowledge acquired. The Empyrean Miquella crafted a needle to resist the influence of outer gods. Those who have inherited the flame of frenzy, yet wish not to become its lord, would do well to seek Miquella's needle. Oh well, quite the secret tucked away. And right in the place where it would be most needed as well. So we approach the dominion of frenzy. Now, this drop looks survivable. Until it breaks the floor. Damn them all. But thankfully, we live. That was a bit easier than I remembered it being. Though, to be fair, the second time is always easier than the first. As that, the first time was abysmally difficult. But I succeeded in the end. And now we have a choice. Through there, in that red fissure in the wall, we will encounter the 3 fingers. And if we greet them, they will grant to us the power of the flame of frenzy. And this will also, incidentally, I believe, give us a seal that will enhance the power of frenzied incantations. However, if we take unto ourselves this, Melina will depart forever. Even if we do remove the frenzied flame, Melina will not return to us. And this causes me to wonder, because I'm curious whether or not Melina plays a role in Shadows of the Erdtree. I wonder, will she appear in that story? Will she have something to say concerning Mesmer and his flame? And if we drive Melina out, will she be alive to visit us again within the shadow? This is my hope. I am hopeful that even after we do this, Melina will live, and perhaps we may even see her again in the DLC. Otherwise, this will be our final meeting. And we will rest here, so that we may hear her plea.
If you intend to claim the frenzied flame, I ask that you cease. It is not to be meddled with. It is chaos, devouring life and thought unending. However ruined this world has become, however mired in torment and despair, life endures. Births continue. There is beauty in that, is there not? If you would become Lord, do not deny this notion. Please, leave the frenzied flame alone.
I would heed you, Melina. I wish to listen, but if we do not do this, then you will assuredly perish. And I do not know if the world is worth keeping without you. Or to put it in a slightly less melodramatic manner, I would simply indicate that this is a grievous pass, indeed, a perilous path I now take, but it is one with a hopeful ending. If I successfully take up the flame and use it to reignite the fire of the giants, it will spare your life, Melina. And moreover, with the needle of Mikola, which I do now possess, I may yet be able to rid myself of the flame, and thus become Elden Lord, free of its taint, of its corruption. And thus, I would have saved you, Melina, and also undone your greatest fear, that I would become the Lord of Frenzied Flame, and wrought ruin to the lands. If only I could explain this to you. If only I could share with you my intent. But alas, I do not have that option.
I ask you one more time, please, seek not the frenzied flame. As one who strives to become a lord, deny not the lives, the new births of this world. Those who would are not fit to be called lord. when the land they preside over is lifeless.
I swear to you, Melina, that shall not come to pass. I will not destroy the lands between. There shall be life yet. This I swear. But I wish you to see it. For you to live in the new world that I and Ronnie shall build. But now, I'm afraid that I must commit atrocity in order to fulfill my wish. Now the door shall open. And now we are forever scarred, charred by the three fingers, and their light is in our eyes. Oh well. Now we shall clad ourselves as we once did, and we will begin our adventure once again with new strength. Although admittedly, for all of our travail getting here, we didn't really earn all that much in the way of power. Save, of course, that now we may spare Melina. I suppose that in itself is a worthy enough cause. Yet I do find myself wishing that we had something a little more akin to Yoel of Londor from Dark Souls 3, who could grant you 5 free levels, 5 extra points just to allocate to your stats. And that, simply, for the price of going hollow. Would have been nice if something similar happened here. But now, we must say farewell.
You have inherited the frenzied flame. A pity. You are no longer fit. Our journey together ends here. And remember, should you rise as the Lord of Chaos, I will kill you. As sure as night follows day, such is my duty. For allowing you the strength of runes. Goodbye, my companion. Goodbye, Torrent.
Again, I wish that I could have explained myself to you, Melina. That I could have given you solace and allayed your fears. I am not the monster you think me. I have not taken the flame of frenzy for my own gain. I have done so to preserve you, but I think the world less without you. And why should I commit the sacrifice when I may sidestep it? I have the means by which you may be spared. And that being so, tell me, why should I permit the sacrifice? I say that I will not. And so now that we have made our choice, taken unto ourselves damnation, it is time that we, at last, slew the fire giant. And we shall have Alexander to aid us in this toil. Come, Alexander. A mighty foe awaits us. And my oh my, but he must be truly heartbroken. Look at what he has had to see for all of time trapped here. A bit early, don't you think, Tish? Not that it matters overmuch. Oop. Didn't quite think you had the reach for that. Not really doing much damage, but I suppose at least well, he's not killing me with this setup yet. I say, and then get immediately barreled over. Rolling around, are we? Oh, how I wish the spell that looked like that were half as cool as it appears here. And half as effective as it is against us. Nope, not gonna get me that easy. Well, you will hit me with that, it seems. Oh. Oh, and you rolled me into it. There we go. I was wondering how long that was gonna take. Ooh. The one-eyed god. The god of the giants, who was allegedly slain by Marika. Hi, but you have a lot of health to get through. Ow. Oh, gah! Look up. Oh, for crying out loud, really? You were so close to the end there. Alright. We're trying this again. I should have been paying more attention to where I was standing. Let's get rid of the whip. And go back to the Dark Moon for this. The Radagon swords were working, but I suspect there were better options. Would have been nice. I made my sacrifice, afflicting myself with the flame of chaos. Would have been nice to go straight on from that to cinematically slaying the giant. But alas, it simply was not to be. This time I'm going to keep my shield at the ready. Oh yes, that's more like it. Yeah, so moonlight was the correct answer. Alright, man. Let's just be doubly sure that I'm at full health when this gets going. And let's watch where we're stepping. And get well clear of that. Where's the weak spot? Oh. I hit him in the face, but I don't think that was the critical blow that I was looking for. Ow. Whoa, 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 whoa. That is too much damage. Okay, but now it is over. Ay, ay. Oh. That got a closer run than I would have liked. Far closer shave than I would like. Ay. Well, at least we have our runes back. And we have a new remembrance. Now let's see. Ah, there we go. Remembrance of the fire giant, hewn into the Erdtree. The power of its namesake can be unlocked by the finger reader. Alternatively, it can be used to gain a great bounty of runes. The fire giant is a survivor of the war against the giants. Upon realizing the flames of their forge would never die, Queen Marika marked him with a curse. O trifling giant, mayest thou tend thy flame for eternity. Yes, Marika set a permanent punishment upon him, and left him to rot here for eternity. Now, I'm going to check something right quick, but we are going to visit the flame, and we will use the fire of frenzy within us to ignite the fire of the giants once again, and burn the Erdtree. I would learn what I may gain from the fire giant's memory. Ah, and here we finally have it. Hefty whip woven from the flame-red hair of a fire giant. Every giant is red of hair, and Radagon was said to have despised his own red locks. Perhaps that was a curse of their kind. And we have Burn, O Flame, one of the incantations that draws directly from the power of the fire giants. Raises a series of flame pillars around the caster. Charging further increases the number of flame pillars. The fire giants borrowed from the power of a fell god, and still they were defeated. Yet their failure released them from their solitary curse, to serve as keepers of the flame for eternity. Now, this description in particular has always stricken me as interesting. Every giant is red of hair, and Radagon was said to have despised his own red locks. Perhaps this was a curse of their kind. So, this is in stark contrast to Radon. Radon inherited the furious, flaming red hair of his father Radagon, and is fond of its heroic implications. I was born a champion's cub. Now I am the lord of the battlefield's lion. So, right off the bat, you have the son loving the hair that his father despised. So that in itself is an interesting juxtaposition. Radon loved the red hair, Radagon hated it. And there's this notion that it was a curse. The curse of their kind. But there is a question posed by this. And that question is, by this phrasing, perhaps that was a curse of their kind, is that implying that the fire giants themselves are cursed to have red hair? In other words, is that a racial curse that they all suffer? Or is it a curse that they bestowed upon Radagon? Now, this has led me to an interesting hypothesis recently. Now we have the question of Radagon's origin, and we have the peculiar answer that Radagon is Marika. That, at least, is what we learned with the law of regression. Radagon was originally Marika. But I've been thinking about this for a while. Radagon seems to have his own will, his own interpretation of events. It states clearly here that Radagon despised the fact that he had red hair. Now, if we take the first interpretation, that the curse of the fire giants is something that they laid upon Radagon and was not a simple racial curse that they all inherited, well, if Radagon was Marika, then why did Marika still have golden hair? Surely she would have been the object of their curse, considering that she is the one who orchestrated their doom. And yet instead, Radagon, the lesser champion, has red hair. So, my supposition, my theory, is that Radagon is, in fact, a descendant of the giants. And if you look at Radon, it kind of bears out that idea. Radon was absolutely massive, after all. Of course, we do have to take that with a pinch of salt. The actual size of our enemies is not necessarily one-to-one with the lore of those enemies. But I believe I may be forgiven for this one, considering that he appears gigantic in the promotional material also. One of the first trailers showing Radon fighting Melania shows the enormous size disparity between him and his half-sister. So, we are now going under the assertion that all fire giants and their kin, of pure blood certainly, bear the curse of red hair. But perhaps some of the descendants of a half-blood might not have the red hair. Such as Rani, for instance. But now here is the really interesting idea. I think, at the moment anyway, that Radagon is actually the son of Marika and the fire giant. Either the one we just killed or one of the other giants. And this would actually explain quite a bit. If Radagon was the son of Marika and a fire giant, it would certainly explain his great strength. And why Rani, one of his children, could be an Empyrean. Because both of the other two Empyreans, Melania and Mikola, were directly children of Marika. So her blood ran extremely strong in those two. And it was also strong in Rani, despite the fact that Rani was not one of her children. So Radagon being of the blood of Marika would explain Rani being an Empyrean, and why all of the demigods of the children of Renala were so mighty. Because Radagon was the son of Marika. This would kind of explain the notion of Marika. Well, there's quite a bit to this, so let me unpack it slowly. Radagon being Marika's son would lend credence to Radahn and Rani and Rykard and all of that lot being as mighty as they were, as they would thus be of the blood of Marika. And Radagon being her son would be among the closest beings in the world to her. And moreover, it might explain why Melania and Mikola came out deformed. It would be because, well, Radagon and Marika committed incest together. They were mother and son, if my guess is correct. And I think this idea has a bit of merit to it. After all, George R.R. Martin helped write the story of Elden Ring. And we do all know of the Lannisters and the Targaryens, and the horrors they bred into the world. So, Radagon being Marika's son will also explain, well, specifically her son by a giant, would explain why he was merely a champion of the Erdtree, and was not considered one of the demigods initially. His origin would be blasphemy, and an overt betrayal on Marika's part, a betrayal of her husband, Godfrey. So of course she would never announce that Radagon was her son, and particularly she would not after choosing to marry him. But the incest between two beings so closely akin might be used as the explanation for why Melania and Mikola came out so deformed. They were children of a single god in the sense that, well, an incestuous pairing extremely close to being the same god. So yes, we now finally have my idea, my story pitch for the origin of Radagon, and an explanation for the deformity of Melania and Mikola.
Now go forth. Let the words of the fingers guide you.
Naturally. This is merely my supposition. My idea, something that's only come to me on this playthrough. Before now, I was simply confused, and thinking Marika created a doppelganger or something to produce Radagon. But this, I think, allows Radagon to be his own separate person, and also explains his hatred for his red hair, the fact that he knows that he is a child of the giants. He knows it and he hates it because they were enemies of the Erdtree, enemies of his mother, and that his very existence, therefore, was blasphemy. And perhaps Marika was playing the long game with Radagon. Or mayhaps she never even intended to use him the way that she did to break the Elden Ring. Perhaps that was an act of desperation, and that her incestuous relation with him was not what she originally intended. No way of knowing for certain, I suppose. But I do like the idea, at least. It has some weight to it, I feel. Perhaps the expansion, Shadow of the Erdtree, will, well, bear out a bit more. After all, the trailers do seem to tease the idea that we will learn more of Marika and her origins. Perhaps she is simply able to create a doppelganger, going so far as to swap genders. But perhaps instead Radagon is merely her son. Only time will tell, I suppose. And now... now we listen to the sounds of flame. And commit an irrevocable sin. And so we have cast ourselves into the fire. And yet we live and awake in a new land. We awaken in the land of the dragons. And of the eternal storm. Now, before we may end, I must find the first grace. And that is as good a sign as any for what we're in for. The very first item we find is a smithing stone 8. And they have a rather good way of giving us material appropriate to our present needs. Crumbling Ferrum Azula. I hate some of the messages you guys leave. Just hate some of them. I really do. A bloody Fortnite reference. A fort, but still no night. Bugger off with that. Okay. Going to make me regret everything, aren't you? Oh, you're not dead. Well, solved that problem, didn't I? Now, where is our first grace? Vicious creature. There we go. And we've made it. And I think that's where we'll stop for the day. As always, if you've enjoyed this, please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a good day.